Like, I'm getting a new computer tomorrow though, so hopefully technical errors will be solved.
Yes.
We're gonna get started with the advisory committee meeting. It is gonna be recorded for everybody who can't join us today to be able to just kind of hop on. We've got the agenda. Hopefully everybody's gathered all of the myriad. We've killed, I think, 10 trees doing this, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Who needs trees? Who needs trees? So I'm Christy Bartolo. I'm the agronomy agent here at the Pueblo County office. And this is Beth Delaire. She's the Ag and Natural Resource Coordinator. This is our site. You are the Pueblo director and the co-central regional director here. And his office is here and also at the regional office. Let's see what else. Yeah.
So with that, you all have our business cards. I know most of you all have our contact information at this point, but if you don't, you do have a hard copy of that for you online. It is listed there as well. And just so everyone's aware, this meeting is being recorded through Zoom and the Owl, so it can hear you, it can see you, and we will keep it on file just because this is an actual committee. So just be aware of that. We will keep that on file. So with that, we'll start into our introductions with our staff, and then we do want to have you all chat and say who you are, a little bit about yourself. So be prepared, think of your favorite cereal, something like that. So be ready for your nice little introduction. So with that, we will jump back to Chrissy and she'll take it away.
Born and raised in Pueblo native here, out on the Mesa, which is basically just the east end of, it's between Pueblo city proper and the St. Charles Mesa River. That's what basically the Mesa is. Grew up on my grandparents' farm, basically helping my dad do a variety of farming things. They mostly grow just hay, alfalfa, and grass at the current moment. My sisters and I, however, have big plans for that 12 acres in the future. So we'll see how that goes. I graduated from CSU Pueblo with a master's degree in biology. So didn't really start out with any kind of agricultural knowledge. It's all just any agricultural knowledge I have is from experience. I started here, well, as I was growing up, I was in the 4-H program, so extension was a large part of my life to begin with. And then in 2018, I joined the Master Gardeners for Pueblo County, and then joined here as the agronomy agent in May of last year. So still kind of new, doing new things, but trying to get stuff going. And that's why, partially why we also have this committee, to see what it is the community needs and how in my position I can help, especially our local farmers and the community in general. So I'm very interested in doing extension research projects with any farmers who are willing to participate with me, and also acting as an advocate for our farming community.
So with that, I'm Beth Delaire. Again, if we haven't met, I'm the Agriculture and Natural Resource Coordinator. So I'm also a Pueblo native. I'm the 6th generation here of my family, and most of them live either in the city of Pueblo in town, or my parents now live out in Pueblo West. So it's kind of where all my family's situated. I went to CSU for my undergraduate, got a bunch of nice degrees in agriculture up in there, and then I'm currently doing my master's in agriculture and integrated resource management through CSU as well. I graduate in May. So that's kind of me. And then thank you. I have a work history in agriculture as well. I've worked on feedlots, cow calf. I've done dry land and irrigated farming. I was a sod farm manager. I drove semis for that sod farm as well. I worked on center pivots, irrigated wheel lines, and then I also was an assistant trainer and just an overall loper for cutting and reined cow horses throughout different parts of the Western United States. So I've done a little bit about everything in agriculture that you can do. I have a passion for educating and being out in agriculture. I think it's great. I was originally the 4-H coordinator when I came here 2 years ago. So I did that, worked with the kids quite a bit, and I did all the animal projects. So I was the co-chair for the state dog 4-H project, and also the state fair dog trial committee person. So I ran that for the last 2 years as well. And then just did a bunch of everything with horse and livestock, and helped create the novel Stockyard Showdown. If any of you went to that last year with our 4-H and FFA kids, I helped pioneer that with a lot of our volunteers in Pueblo County for the kids for the livestock show. So doing some fun things like that. And now I am the Ag and Natural Resource Coordinator. So I work with the beekeepers and Farm Bureau, and have a little bit of everything. And of course, we'll kind of differentiate. And before we give it over to our director, I do want to highlight Carolyn Valdez, who is the program assistant here. She's online. She's waving. And she is the one that you all will sometimes get emails from. So if it doesn't come from one of us, that's who it is. She's a vital part of our team here for the ag team. So if you can't get in touch with one of us, Carolyn would also be another great resource if you need to get in contact with the office and just trying to find somebody to talk to. So she's on there. Carolyn, if you want to unmute and quickly introduce yourself to the group, you're welcome to.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Valdez. I'm the program assistant for horticulture, agriculture, agronomy, and also the backup for the office manager. And been with CSU Extension for almost 28 years.
That's cool. So with that, we will hand it over to Mr. MJ Fisher, our Pueblo County Extension Director.
Hello, I'm MJ. If you don't know me, I think that almost everybody knows me. I want to say thank you for being a part of the Ag Advisory. We are supposed to have 2 Ag Advisory meetings a year, and we did a great job a few years ago trying to rebuild the Ag Advisory and creative bylaws and all, and Betsy was a part of that with us. And then it stalled out after we had it built and had not been brought together for a while. So trying to reinvigorate that and get it going again. We have a lot of great ideas about things to do for agriculture and natural resources in the area, but sometimes we can get blinded with our own interests or the directions we're getting pushed. So having a group like this is very valuable to us to make sure that we are seeing the big picture and able to connect with other items that maybe we have missed. So thank you for taking the time to help us out. So a little background about me. I grew up in central Iowa on a cow, calf, and feedlot operation. We had 1,000 acres of corn, 1,000 acres of soybeans, and 1,000 acres of hay. And then for a while, we had 900 head of ewes that we lambed out. So we stayed pretty busy. I rented a farm and worked on a feedlot for a few years and was also a fire medic. And finally, I went and got my college degrees in my late 20s. So I was a non-traditional student. I have an animal science degree with an ag education minor in from Iowa State University. And then also some meat science background. I was on the meat judging team and animal evaluation team and national championship meat animal evaluation team. I worked for a few years in feed sales and feed research, and then got my master's degree in ruminant nutrition from Oregon State. I was a livestock judging coach at the University of Georgia. Went into extension at Virginia for 3 years, and then I've been in Colorado for 15 years. I came here as a livestock specialist for Northeast Colorado, covered the whole corner of the state up there. And then in 2013, I came here as the county director. 90% of that role is administrative, but I do maintain 10% of programming, and I try to fill it where I can with livestock programming. I do some community development stuff, which is mostly ag-related community development. For the last year, I have been the interim regional director. I oversee 9 counties, so it has gotten really hard to track me down and find me here. So that's a little background about me. You're always welcome to send me an email or call me if you have any questions. It might take me a little bit to get back to you, but I always try to get back.
All righty. So
Our group is small enough, so if y'all wouldn't mind going around and introducing yourself to the whole group and maybe giving us just a tiny little bit background of your agricultural experiences as well. Let's start with you, TJ.
I'm TJ Connect, and my family's the Presti Farms. I work on the farm. I'm the 3rd generation. We grow corn and pinto beans and chili peppers in Vineland. And I've also got a bit of a background in and a degree in agronomy.
I'm McCall Connect, married to this little farmer. Not little, hot farmer. Grew up in the mountains of Colorado on a ranch. Now I'm in the plains of Colorado on a farm. Degree in ag comm,
spent time in the stock show event planning world, spent time in the barbecue world, and now I'm here.
My name is Monique Mares, and I support the Pueblo Food Project. The Pueblo Food Project is a community coalition looking to create food systems change across Pueblo County. Lots of different areas of work there, including access, food farm literacy and education, and developing the local food economy, etc. I myself had my first taste of farming as a very little girl, going with my grandmother to pick tomatoes out in Vineland. My grandmother immigrated here from Mexico in the 1910s and was a farm laborer for a good bit of her time as an individual in Pueblo County. So I had a lot of experience just out there in the fields, running around with her and trying to help fill those buckets. I have a degree in ethics, politics, economics, international studies with a focus on corporate social responsibility in farming, as it turns out. And I have a master's degree in food systems with a focus on supporting ecological food systems development for communities of all shapes and sizes.
I'm Drew Spinuzzi, probably the oldest one in the group, so we won't go back into my history. I was born and raised on a ranch, so I have a lot of experience in that. Came married a city slicker. He doesn't ride horse, he doesn't plow anything. Worked as an officer for 17 years, and now I am an avid beekeeper. I am vice president of the Beekeeping Association, and I'm also an advisor on the state beekeeping board. So a lot of bees out in the county. I have bees on an organic farm in Avondale, kind of, and Beulah. I have a lot of hives on down by the nature trail. But my main objective is to teach people how to keep bees and keep them alive. So basically, did I say I was old?
Betsy, if you can unmute and hear us, we'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Okay, was I muted when I was talking?
You were, but we can hear you now.
Okay, Betsy Brown, my husband Reeves Brown and I ranch between Beulah, Colorado City and Rye. And I've been on the committee before, and so we'll see if it takes off and flies this time.
All right. Thanks, Betsy. Kelby, would you like to unmute real quick?
Kelby Bond from Avondale, Colorado. We run a calf operation and farm out there. I'm a new member.
Well, thank you. Thanks all for being here and taking the time to come down and introduce yourselves. You're all vital members of the community, and we definitely appreciate you taking the time to come and lend us your input. So with that, Christy, if you wanna,
I will grab, yep, I'm gonna grab the bylaws. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, these are very formal bylaws. And I'm not the most formal of a person. So we're just gonna kind of run through the bylaws real quick so that everybody who is a new member is kind of aware of what is, what this committee is for, what the purpose is, and then what is expected. And then there's also the advisory board responsibilities that we'll run through as well. So it's a total of 7 articles in the bylaws. The first article just kind of gives the name of what this committee is. It's the Agricultural Advisory Committee, and that's going to encompass both myself and Beth with agronomy and with the ag and natural resources. The second article describes the purpose of the committee, basically, and it's kind of what MJ had previously said. Review, plan, make recommendations for CSU extension, assist us in evaluating our educational programs, making any other recommendations or long-term objectives that you think or you feel would be appropriate for us to provide to the community. And then one thing that is kind of a maybe different portion, but a liaison between CSU Extension and the people of Pueblo County and the Board of Commissioners. So if we've got something, a big project that's coming up that we'd really like to promote and push, it would be our hope that you all would help support us in pushing those things through. Membership, article number 3. CSU Extension, Pueblo County staff and Pueblo County Agriculture Advisory Committee selects members. And these members are actually, according to the bylaws, supposed to be put forward to the Board of County Commissioners. We actually have not done that yet. I don't know, MJ, if that's something that we'll do that in the interim and then come back to you all with more information on that when we have our second meeting of the year. That way we kind of know how that's going to go. Members are asked to serve a 3-year term. So if you're here now, we'd ask that you at least stay on for 3 years. We intend to keep this ag advisory going from this day on to whenever we retire. Eternity, yeah, eternity. And so that will be kind of how that is. Anybody can be a member. It doesn't have to be, one particular group or another. It doesn't have to be one particular person or another. We do like to have folks who are kind of immersed in the farming and agricultural communities and in the community, broader general community as well, so that we can get a good scope, kind of a good broad idea of what it is the community needs. So I like to have people from all sorts of sectors. And then we've got article number 4, and this is for officers. Previously, there was a gentleman named John Shuey who was on this committee, who was the chair. At this moment in time, we're not sure if he will continue to join with us. He's not here today, so I haven't been able to reach him. So we'll have to, unfortunately, we won't be able to choose that chair and co-chair today. We'll have to wait till the July meeting because we just need to know who all is, maybe hopefully by then we can have everybody in and maybe a few more members. And we will make that simple majority vote for the chair and the co-chair. And basically the chair is going to be the person who's running the committee meetings. Helps to make a vote or puts a vote forward if there is a vote that needs to be put forward for anything that we decide as the committee. Any questions so far on the first 4 articles? We're kind of running through it quickly. Sorry about that. And then meetings, article number 5.
No, there
Okay.
wasn't any.
Okay. Meetings, biannual meetings, so twice a year. This is our first meeting for 2022, and so we will schedule a meeting in July of 2022. I know that's a difficult time of year for a lot of folks, especially being dead of summer. It's very busy. So we'll do our best to work around everybody's schedule. Depending, we can have a meeting in the evening if that works better, or morning at different times of day, whatever works for folks, just so that we can meet that quorum. The quorum is at least 51% of the committee has to be in attendance for us to do any kind of voting, which it sounds like in July we will be doing some voting. So we'll do our best to have as many folks here as possible. Article 6 and 7 are pretty simple. 6 is just saying that the chair can appoint subcommittees, basically, if we need to have other different programs and different people working on educating ourselves or educating the public or kind of getting the word out. And Article 7 allows for amendments to be made to these bylaws. So we will certainly take a look at that and make sure if you read through the bylaws and you see something that's, kind of contrary to what you think you should be doing, we can definitely look at that, take a look at that, come back together at the July meeting and work through it and hopefully get some, if we need to make any changes that we need, so that this is a functioning and efficient committee. Questions on the bylaws for any folks? Anybody online have questions? I'm going to say no. Okay, cool. Move on to the board responsibilities. All right. Broad and in general, the board responsibility, or the committee responsibilities are to advise the issue extension, especially myself and Beth, and any programs that MJ might be putting forward as well. This gives a whole list of things that the advisory is asked to do. So things like assessing citizen and community issues, which extension can help or provide educational programming for, assisting extension staff in determining priorities of all program areas. That would be like, Beth's program is a little more important because at that moment in time, maybe there's a situation that she can help with than maybe my program. So we'd say, hey, Christy, step back for a minute. Let's promote Beth's program and we'll move forward. So things like that. What else? I'm not going to read through. It's quite an extensive list. I'm not going to read through it all. Yeah, and I guess if you guys have any questions on that, we certainly would be happy to kind of, or if you're uncomfortable with anything that this is asking the board to do, we would certainly like to know that. Yeah, we get a little guidance on that so that we can, like I said, have an efficient committee as possible. Any inputs on that, Beth, that we needed to?
No,
to cover? Like I said, they're very formal, very written, very formally. I'd like for this committee to, we do need to follow the bylaws that they are set forward, but I would like us to be a little more relaxed and be able to have conversations and discussions with any topics that you guys find necessary or important. So,
And you all were picked just because you do serve vital roles in the community at
Right.
large, whether that's in a professional or a personal service. We feel your viewpoint hits a lot of target areas that our office may not necessarily be communicating with. So we value each and every one of you and think that you each bring something unique to this discussion. So please don't ever feel afraid to not have an opinion or
yeah,
anything like that.
absolutely.
And
We're
we
here.
truly want your feedback. So
We're here to get your guys' input. So absolutely. And we do appreciate very much, like that. So we very, very much appreciate you serving on this committee.
So anything from anybody in person or online about the responsibilities part?
No,
Okay, all right, thanks.
So with that, now that's a little hard to see on the slide there, try to make that smaller. We will do our program updates. As you can see, I've put a list, but first of all, we're gonna hand it over to MJ and he'll give you all some updates and then Christine and I will jump in with everything else.
So I've mentioned that most of what I do is administration. So I've had some successes this last year. I think Monique knows this. I know that Betsy knows this. I had worked for probably 5 or 6 years trying to get in the agronomy position. So being able to hire Christy as our agronomist was a huge success for me. And then we were able to hire Beth out of her 4-H role and into this ag role. So we've got a full team now. And then Cherie Schaefer is our horticulture agent, and Cherie has her own advisory, but a lot of times the ag and the horticulture crossover. So you might see Cherie working with us some as well. In addition to that, I oversee 9 counties now, and I try to separate out what is Pueblo versus another county, but I do want to let you know that I am in the process of hiring a water specialist in Monte Vista. And I bring that up because this water specialist will cover from Monte Vista up to Colorado Springs, out to Springfield. So they will be somebody that we could access here in Pueblo. And we haven't fully worked out the details of the job description, but I was visiting last week with the dean of the College of Ag. And I think what we're going to do is hire somebody who spends about 50% of their time working on how forages and pastures and grass hays and such will uptake water and utilize water, and where we can work on water conservation in those forages. And then it'd be about 30% with intensive crop irrigation and 20% with water policy. So hopefully some of you have been around long enough, you know that it takes us a long time to hire people in extension. I'm hoping that sometime this summer we can have this one going. Dean Pritchett and I plan on trying to have a job description written by the end of the month. So also, we're an ag advisory, but I know that a lot of times the folks in ag want to know about our 4-H program. We just hired the 4-H position. I want you to know that we submitted last week, we submitted the request to replace Beth's 4-H position. So I'm hopeful that in a couple of months, we can get that position refilled. For the last year and a half, we've been working on a community needs assessment through all of Extension statewide. In Pueblo County, from an ag standpoint, we had questions in a couple of different surveys that went out. And then also I did interviews with some of the people associated with ag and ag businesses. And I know a couple of you in this meeting partook with that, and I appreciate your help. We divided that up. Well, the university divided it up and looked at it statistically, and Pueblo County came out with 7 different quote unquote general topic areas or general buckets of interest. They were community and economic development, natural resources and environment, health and well-being, personal property, yard and land management, food and agriculture industry, youth development, and household family finances. And I have gone through it. Some of them had 7 things, some of them had 10 things. I have picked out the top 3 in things. And just to streamline this, from a natural resources and environment, what we were told through those surveys and interviews were that we need to look at nature and outdoor environmental education, which we do some already, animal and plant identification, water supply, conservation, and efficiency. Our health and well-being, the food preparation, food cooking and preservation. That was all of the health and well-being was around foods and preserving and preparation. The personal property, yard and land management. The number 2 was gardening, growing foods. Number 3 was maintaining trees, yards, and landscape. So that is an area that Cherie is wanting to do a little bit more on that trees and yards. I know we do quite a bit with gardening and growing foods already. In the food and agriculture section, it was supporting local food production and distribution was number 1. Number 2 is a public understanding of ag and food systems. So they wanted us to be kind of an ag advocate. And then we had a tie for number 3 with urban agriculture and pest management. And then I'd like to point out that in the household, family, and finances, it came out, our number 2 was food insecurity and management. And then number 3, something we are going to work on quite a bit in the future, is emergency preparedness. So those are where our data came out with that. We have put together have a program plan for the next 3 years to try to look at some of these. And we will be presenting that to the county commissioners in the next probably 60 days or so. Some things that I have been working on. We just got a fair grant from the state for $36,000. I think it's $36,700. In which we are going to use it to try to help out the Pueblo County Fair. And we're going to do some things with agriculture with it. We have to have a fair board. The fair board meeting has to vote on this, and then we have to get approval from the county. But I know one of the things we have talked about, some of the fair board members and I have talked about, is maybe buying a portable livestock shoot and scales combination that we could use to help the kids understand how their livestock are gaining and weigh them. But then I told the Fair Board if we bought it, we would also want to be able to use it through the extension office. If we wanted to do kind of a weight management program with livestock, help people understand how their livestock are gaining, or if we wanted to do a beef quality assurance class. So I don't yet know that we're going to get it bought, but I think it's probably going to be bought through that grant. And it's about $13,000 for it. I am working with the communications people at CSU, and we have a meeting with the State Fair management team at the end of the month on the 31st. And we're going to try to hire an intern to develop some interactive ag education for the State Fair that is around some of the research that CSU is doing, so that we can highlight some of the technologies that are coming forward and how we can advance the food industry and let people see that at the State Fair. So like I said, we meet January 31st with the State Fair crew to have that discussion. I worked on a grant this last year, and we did not end up applying. We got stuff put together, but there just wasn't enough time to get everything. And our cost share was going to be about $250,000, and we didn't have that handy. But I think we're going to look at it again this year. We would like to put a Ag Innovation Center at CSU Pueblo. So I've been working with Mohammed, the provost at CSU Pueblo, about it. The grant's about $750,000, and then we have to come up with $250,000 in cost match. If we get it, what we're looking at is doing something where we can bring in a couple of specialist level staff that could work with a farmer or rancher on value added ag. How do we go through the processing for value added? How do we market value added better?
Is that the USDA Urban Ag Innovation Zone grant?
It is not that, it's that food industry transition grant,
Gotcha.
but
Okay.
it's in the same bucket.
Gotcha. The food project put in an application for the Urban Ag Innovation Zone to try and rehab the greenhouse and get an apprenticeship program going there. So we'd be happy to share our application with y'all. Obviously, we didn't get the money, but they gave us some good feedback. So if there's, if it helps to just take a look at that feedback too, we'd have to share it.
Okay. I started working on that in April last year, and I couldn't get, when you're dealing with $1 million, you're all the way to the president's office and chancellor's office. And I couldn't get all the administrators to sit down until we were like 3 weeks out. We just didn't have time to, you have to have that committee put together and everything. We didn't have time to get it all put together. So I'm hoping that they reissue it again this April, and where we have kind of our ducks in a row and we can get in on it. Another thing, not only the agronomists that we've been talking about for a long time, but my first week on the job in Pueblo County in 2013, county commissioners told me they wanted to build us a new extension office from the ground up. And so they keep talking about it, but now they have some drawings and blueprints, and you guys may have seen there were drawings in the Pueblo Chieftain, was that 7 or 8 months ago?
Yeah.
So they're going to vote in February about that. What they're looking at is out on the Mesa. And I've been told it's 18 acres. I've been told it's 12 acres. It looks to me like it's about 6 acres. But anyhow, if we get that building built, like I said, they're going to vote in February. In the designs, we have research plots set up on the site where we could do some agronomy and some horticulture research, and then people could come in and walk through it. We would build walking trails around it so that they could walk through it. We'd have placards and stuff to kind of explain what we're doing. And then we also have talked about having a botanical garden area in that as well.
Cool.
So we've got to get it approved first. It's a lot of money. So
They vote in February?
say what?
They vote in February?
They told me they were going to vote in February.
Yeah, let us know when that
anything we
meeting
can do
is.
to
Yeah.
help there.
Public comment,
Write
yeah.
letters.
Once we get a little further, I can let you know, but I think that Commissioner Wiseman would love to have some public comments
Yeah.
with it.
Cool.
I don't think the girls know this yet, the ladies know this yet. I was appointed last week, I was appointed to the National Ag Issues Committee for Extension Nationwide. So I'm now on that committee and we'll have to travel a little bit around the country, like I have a lot of spare time. I'll be doing, like I said, I have 9 counties these days. I'll be doing a nutrition program on the third trimester nutrition for cows. I'll be doing that February 2nd in at the Southern Rocky Mountain Ag Conference. And then also, this was just a yesterday thing, and I don't think I've told either of them about this yet. There's a group that is going to hold a drought resiliency conference for ag in Canyon City on March 26th, which is a Saturday, and I'll be speaking at it as well. So I talked a lot longer than I thought I would. Any questions for me? Turn it back over to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll jump in and we'll kind of be tag teaming. And of course, if you guys have questions about anything, just pause and let us know, because we know it's a lot. But we do try to, we have a lot of things, exciting things coming. So as you can see there on our slide here, we do a lot of in-person and online classes, and some of them are just hybrid as well. Christy did quite a few of them in last year, and then she has her most upcoming one, which is next week on Tuesday, which she'll talk about, which is the water one. So if you do want to join in on that one, it is in person. And we'll show that on the next slide as well, if you need the date and everything for that. But we do quite a bit of in-person classes. And if you hear of a topic that you feel is making the rounds in the community and that anyone in agriculture is concerned about, or just wanting some education on, let us know, because it might be a topic that we're maybe not hearing about or something like that. So we're happy to do education on anything that is relevant to what's going on. Just yesterday, I hosted the Ranch to Plate presentation with the Colorado Department of Ag, as people are planning their processing markets for this year and how they're going to do that. And because the Ranch to Plate Act did change some legislative for custom processing on livestock, that was an important topic that people needed to kind of understand in Pueblo County. So if you know somebody and they wanted to come to that, it was recorded and it will be on our Pueblo County Extension YouTube page. If you ever miss a class or anything, we do often record them and put them on that page as well. If you ever want to go back and watch a class, and then you can always contact us for the extra materials if you want some. So there's always things like that. So we'll continue to do classes like that throughout the year. So just watch on our Facebook page, our website, and then of course you can always call the office and just see what we have to offer. The other way you can stay in contact with us is we do have a ag email list that goes out every week. We usually put our events in it and also articles that we see floating around that may impact our community as far as agriculture goes. So if you're not on that list and you would like to be on it, please let us know. We just need your email address. We'll get you on it, and that way you'll just see it come into your email once a week, and you'll get to see everything lined up for right there for easy access. Under that special events tab there, you can kind of see some of the things we worked on last year and have upcoming this year. One of the big things Christy did that she'll talk about is her bus tour that was agriculture centered. So she'll give you a rundown of that took place last year. And then of course our biggest thing, which I've got a flyer for, and I apologize for those online, we will send you this stuff through your email so you'll get to see it as well, but is our Pueblo Ag Expo, and you all have a flyer for it. So this is a Ag Expo. Most of you are being involved in it in some way, shape, or form, but this is happening on March 10th, which is a Thursday from 1 p.m. at the Colorado State Fairgrounds and Creative Arts Building. It's basically just a way for every agriculture producer to come in all of Colorado to come and have a discussion about ag and listen to some great speakers. So if you kind of flipped through that, you got to see some of our speakers that are coming and the topics that they plan to talk about. And Kelby Bond, who's on here with our committee, is actually one of the speakers. So him and the other ones that are listed there are just coming to kind of give their input and share information with everybody. So if you wouldn't mind sharing this, we do plan to have this go live today, and the Eventbrite is open. So people can start registering, and that $20 just covers your meal, your swag bag, and things like that. And of course, some of you are being partners and have booths set up there. So we did highlight you all on that last page to just show that they should definitely come by and check out your booths and come do it. So we definitely do want to highlight. So look for this on our social media, on our website, things like that. We will have it up and live where people can go into it. And if you have your own social media, if you wouldn't mind cross-posting it, we would greatly appreciate it. So that is one of our bigger things. My specific stuff, the small acreage management workshops, I know McCall was very interested in it. We started doing small acreage livestock management classes and what do you do when you have animals on a small space. So one of them we started doing was overwintering poultry on small acreage management. We had our 4-H poultry superintendent be our speaker, and she has a lot of different birds that coexist in a smaller space. And she currently just got emus. So it's really interesting to see how all of her birds interact and how she raises them. She has eggs. I mean, she has the whole works. So it was really good for her to talk about how do you do that on 5 acres or less, and how do you keep them happy over the winter, and how do you make sure they're all coexisting, because sometimes that can get a little tough, especially if it's a cold day out. So it was a great experience for everyone that attended, and because of that, we got great feedback, and we'll be looking to do that on other animal species as well. So if you have like miniature cows, or you have Highlanders, or you have dairy cows or sheep or something like that that is on a small amount of land, and you're just trying to figure out how do I make this profitable? Is it something that just needs to be a hobby? What does this look like? That's what we're here to help educate with that. So we will be planning more classes and doing some live in-person events where we'll be able to travel and see some people's operations as well if you're curious. So that will be up and coming. MJ kind of touched on it, but the volunteer cart trainings, some of you probably heard about that, but with my new position, I am the incident commander for the livestock division of the community animal response team, which means any kind of disaster that would happen here in Pueblo County, the large livestock evacuations, I would be the one coordinating all of that. So we will be starting to host our volunteer trainings. If you're interested in that, again, please let me know. You do have to go through a couple FEMA classes and get certified to be a volunteer. And then after that, you would be on standby where if something happened, like the Marshall Fire, you would be activated, you would be with me, and then we would figure out a plan of where I need you and what you're going to be doing, whether that's transport, whether that means you're at the Colorado State Fairgrounds, making sure animals are getting checked in, things are labeled, animals have water, food, shelter, whatever the case is. We don't handle the people side of it. So that would be handled by FEMA, Red Cross, and other divisions in the county. And of course, our division is only activated by the emergency operations commander. So we don't just decide to get activated. They have to activate the cart, and then we would get called out. So, but if you do see something, yes.
Before you're done with that, I have.
Oh, okay. So if you, and I know in the past, what's also happened is if you see something happening anywhere in the county, you see a fire or you see something like that, you can always just give me a call as well, because it might be something we know about and we're kind of keeping tabs on and things like that, but we also just do that in case that is a discussion that maybe needs to happen, that we're like, oh, this is going to impact a farm or a ranch or something like that, and we need to go out and help in that situation. So we will be doing that. There will be live trainings as well in different parts of the county, like in Rye, Beulah, out in Boone, things like that. So if there was a situation and you're a volunteer, you know what to do when you get there, so that we can all be super efficient and we can help as quickly as possible. So, so keep an eye out for that. We will be getting that up and rolling this month and next month, and kind of rolling it out the rest of this year. So if you have something to add on that.
Something we could use some help from y'all is help us get that word out when we start doing these trainings. People are busy. They don't have time to go do these kind of things. But if you have a fire, when we had Beulah Hills, when we had Junkins Fire, we did the North Spring Fire down in Huerfano County. People come out of the woodwork and want to help when it happens. The state and the counties will not let people come help if they have not gone through the training and aren't on the list. It's a legal liability issue. So, we would love to be able to get that word out there that we're having these trainings and that people have to go through the trainings to be able to help at an incident. When we had the Beulah Hills Fire, gosh, I bet we had 100 different people come up and want to volunteer, but we legally can't let them because they haven't gone through the training, and then they're mad at us. Also, the state, and I forgot about this, the state is working on creating a pilot program, which Christy Coleman in Westcliff with the Colorado Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management is the lead on it. And then Maggie Brown, who's the new state vet, and myself, we're the three that are trying to work on it to create it into a structure. We want to create an ag liaisons program so that if there is a wildfire in a community, we have a lot of trouble with ranchers and state troopers getting into arguments because the ranchers need to get in to water their cows or something like that. And state troopers like, nope, I'll shoot you if you go any further. And so we're working on this ag liaison program so that we can figure out a structure so that there is a dedicated ag professional at all these large emergency incidents. So you might hear that unfolding over the next year. And then also, if I can get myself together and get it done, we're going to host here in Pueblo a emergency management training for extension statewide sometime this spring.
Does any, I know that like is a pretty big topic. A lot of people have had concerns regarding like the Marshall Fire, things like that. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about that specifically before we go any farther?
I've never even heard of a CART team or CART, so that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good response team. And just so you know, there are different divisions of it. Like we handle the livestock side, and then the Humane Society handles the domestic pets. So that would be like your regular canary birds, parrots, things like that, and then dogs and cats and other small things. So we would be just livestock primarily. So, and then PAWS also coordinates with the Humane Society as well. But we kind of keep in touch with all of us just because sometimes in an evacuation, people panic. They'll bring a horse trailer and like 10 dogs and say, I have all these animals. So that would be the other thing where we would really count on volunteers being able to take animals where, and if those need to go somewhere else, it can be figured out with transport. So just a lot of that. And we do have a cart trailer that the county does have. So that is run through our office. So we do have supplies, we do have all the paperwork, things like that. So please don't feel pressure that you have to come and like bring a cart full of supplies. We do have quite a bit of that set up where we would just need you as a person to take shifts and kind of help keep people calm and keep animals as calm as possible while everything's being figured out. So just something to think about as we move forward. And of course, the last couple big things is that the virtual farm and ranch tours. So as the winter season's kind of here, kind of not, can't really make up its mind, we are going to be starting to do some virtual farm tours that will be live for people to kind of see. Again, it's both on big and small operations, so people can see how in the world do I start to do this. Like if you're a brand new beginner farmer, you've just got 5 acres, you have some water, and you're trying to figure out how do I plan my space appropriately, to show people what it's like and how you can do this and on what kind of budget, so that they can actually be there somewhat in person and see it live. So we do have some of that planned. And of course, we also want to be able to tell the stories of agriculture producers in Pueblo. Because a lot of people who are in the urban sector don't know about a lot of the families on the Mesa or out in Violin and things like that, and how much of a tribute they give to the community. And we'd love to highlight that and really kind of bridge that gap between the urban city and what is around the rest of Pueblo. So we will be looking to do that. And then the very last thing I have is just the possibility of a podcast. We are working with Adam Uhernick from the county's office. He does have a podcast availability in our office, have looked into that, and it'd be for extension overall in Pueblo County, but we would be looking to really have a lot of ag topics come on, have some speakers come on, such as any of you from the group, where you can give experience about bees or food insecurity or anything, even Farm Bureau related, things like that, that are relevant to the community that people may not know about, but they sure listen to a podcast. So that is something we are building, hoping to get started this year. And we may be tagging some of you to see if you would like to come and be a speaker on the podcast and get your name out there in the community on a larger venue. So that's kind of it. I don't want to talk too much longer, so I'll hand it over to Christy, but does anyone have any questions for me or any of the events or anything like that I touched on?
You do have a lot going on.
Yes, just a little bit. Huh?
Very cool.
All right, well, Christy, I'll turn it over to you.
I don't have as much going on, but Beth and I will partner on a lot of the things that she's just mentioned. So being as that I started in May, I am trying still kind of to figure out how this particular position is going to work. It is a brand new position to Pueblo County. And so I'm kind of building as I go, trying different things and seeing what works. But in August of 2021, I did have the opportunity to take part in a specialty crop block grant program that came down from CSU. And I was able to put on a bus tour. We went out to some of the farms on the Mesa and then we made our way down to the research center in Rocky Ford. And took a tour of the farms, kind of learned what was going on those particular farms, talked about some of the issues that farmers are facing, and got to be able to participate in a couple things. Some of the participants were able to set some siphon pipes, so from an irrigation ditch, that water near a furrow irrigated field. At the research center, they learned about all the different research topics that were happening down there, that Mike Bartolo, who is now retired, was working on, and I think they have filled that position, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure exactly if that person's begun yet, but
I think they just offered it.
okay, so it's just very, very fresh and new. I anticipate that myself and Beth too will be working with those folks as well down there on any kind of research projects that they have that we can either extrapolate up to here or that we have that we can maybe partner with them down there as well. I have been putting on a few different classes and just little programming, different things in agricultural topics. So we've had a discussion on technology in agriculture and how that can be used. Like Beth said, my next upcoming class will be on water issues. So it'll be kind of about the anti-speculation laws that have come through and more about those and what that kind of means for ag water, and then also some water conservation discussion as well, just to kind of bridge the gap between those two things as well. What else?
Do you want to talk about the water table? The
Oh,
roundtable
yes,
discussion?
we are planning to have a water roundtable discussion where we can bring some different folks in the water industry here to have a discussion, basically a panel where the community can ask questions, how agricultural water is going to be in the next, 20 years, what it will be like. We are, definitely going to be in drought. We are seeing scarce water availability. And so how do we move forward? How do we continue to be an agricultural community with scarcity of water? What does that mean? What are the laws around this? How is that going to change? So we'd like to have that discussion in the panel, be able to talk about what's happening now, what that looks like in the future for the community, ag, and any broader community in general. What other things do we have?
Christie,
Yeah.
You might not be ready to share this, but I'd like to tell them about your research project you're planning.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Haven't heard back from this, but I applied for a Western Integrated Pest Management Program grant. And so this grant would look at using particular biological controls, specifically on aphids, to slow the spread of alfalfa mosaic virus. So this particular disease hangs out in the alfalfa patches, and then the alfalfa gets cut for hay, and the aphids, the little infected aphids, move on to specialty crops, basically the chili peppers. Oftentimes that causes mottling and mosaic and some yield losses in the peppers themselves. And obviously Pueblo peppers are a very important thing culturally, historically, traditionally, everything like that. So this particular grant, if funds were awarded, would look at using ladybugs and ladybug larvae to manage the aphid population in the alfalfa patches before it were even to move to the peppers. So that grant funding hasn't been awarded yet, so I'm not exactly sure if that will happen. If that does get awarded, we are looking to get an intern from CSU to help kind of work on that research project. And go from there. There's another grant that I will be applying for as well. I suppose I might as well just tell you about all the grants. It is a specialty crop block grant as well. And so that one will probably look at you doing some variety trials, some drought tolerant variety trials, either in tomatoes or peppers, and see what we can grow here with low water. So that's all the grants I think that I'm, oh, well, for the expo, I guess we haven't talked about the expo, but we're having the agricultural expo that we discussed. We did apply for a mini grant for that as well. So that's, Beth and I will hopefully be getting some funds for that to make it a better event.
And of course, you all, and this is your copy to keep, and of course, those online, again, we can send it to you directly, and it is available on our county website, but we did put together a new ag newsletter, which you all have access to. The little QR code there on the front just takes you to our digital version of it on our online site, which means all the links are live, our emails are live, things like that. If you want to just click on it on your phone and off you go. But these have been distributed in various places throughout the entire county. Christine and I went and spent most of Monday of this week doing that. So we have one in Beulah, we have one in Rye, Colorado City, Pueblo West, Pueblo itself, and then various places out on the Mesa. So if you see one, be sure to spread it because we do have some great articles in there. So we might be asking some of you as the committee, if you have good ideas about an article or something you've seen that you really would want us to put out there. We do these quarterly, so they will go out 4 times a year, both hard copy and digitally as well. So there are some good articles in here that all 3 of us kind of worked on. If you flip through it quickly, and we did highlight some community partners, and we will be switching those up every quarter. So this time we did do the Beekeeper Association with Drew and Farm Bureau, and then we'd love to highlight on the Pueblo Food Project in the next quarter, things like that, just in case people pick this up and maybe don't know about these other entities in the community that they might want to be a part of. So we definitely want to highlight you all in various ways that we can. So just some good info in there. We do have our nice upcoming events kind of listed there, along with all of our links to stay connected with the Extension Office and specifically the Ag team. So this is yours to keep, yours to show around, and of course this is digital, so you can always have a copy of it there. There's that. The last couple things on this list we quickly wanted to talk about, and we'll try to get through so you all have time to eat, is we're looking to host some pesticide trainings for both commercial and private applicators, trying to allow people to come test and do the classes if they need to, and possibly even some recertification. So we are working with the state on that, trying to get some people down here in order to do that. So just look for that if you need to do that, if you need to recertify, or if you know someone that's looking to get their license and needs to know where do I go to take a class and repeat the test. So we will be working on that. And of course, our last big thing, last 2 big things is we are working with the Pueblo County Beekeepers Association. On our next slide, you will see, and I can go ahead and switch that. Oh, is it? Yeah, sorry, it's too far. I went too far. There we go. So on this slide, y'all can see our biggest upcoming events, but the second and third bullet are the bee events that we have upcoming. The first one is the Bee Curious School, and then the second one is the Speaker and Vendor event. So they are working on their marketing and advertising. I know Drew's been working hard on making sure that's up and running as quick as possible, but we highly encourage you all to attend as much of that as you can. And of course, they play a big role in our Pueblo Ag Fest that educates youth from Pueblo County, Fremont, and Penrose about agriculture. So we greatly appreciate the beekeepers and their role in helping to educate our youth about sustainability and agriculture overall. So that's kind of that. And then along with these big upcoming events, our last piece on that big slide beforehand was our Facebook outreach and engagement. So we did start doing some internal programming on that, looking at that, because we did feel that we were missing that, and that's kind of how people are trending nowadays. So just so you all know, as a committee, we started out with a small number. We were reaching about 100, 200 people, both when Christy and I kind of started taking it and kind of doing some different things in the end part of last year when we had some time. And just so this month, I checked on it today, we have 515 people we reach on average on a daily exposure rate, which is great, which some of you thank you, and then some of you share it quite a bit and like it, which always helps with our exposure. And I know we've joined some other groups to help with our exposure as well. So we greatly appreciate everyone who cross shares, and we're happy to repost. Like if you have any events in your own entities, let us know. We will share it. We will cross share and put it on our stories as well. So, and if you need any help with any of that, we're happy to jump on and help you create things, or if you need any assistance, we're happy to help in any way we can. So with that, that kind of wraps up all of our program updates. Do you all have questions on any? I know it was a lot, but do you all have any questions or anything like that on anything we just covered between the 3 of us?
I'm gonna set sandwiches out and we can discuss.
Yes,
while we're
absolutely.
eating.
So we just have a couple last things, and then we will break and have lunch. But so our very last thing for today is just your comments and inputs, and we just kind of want to open it up to you all to hear what you've liked so far and not liked, and if you have any ideas about things you want to put on our radar now, since we won't meet as a group like this for quite a few months. But if you have something upcoming, now would be a great time. Let us know, even if it's something in like November that peaked in your mind as we talk today. Let us know, because sometimes it takes us a while to plan, and sometimes we might need those couple months ahead of time just to get things squared away on our end. So we can start wherever. If anyone has a burning desire, we're here to listen. So
I
y'all.
just wanted to say something, most probably don't know, but this extension office was very instrumental in founding our club. I believe it was like 6-7 years ago, Tom Lackett. He's no longer here, but this club has grown from 6 members to 175 over 5 years, and that is thanks to this place. Your team is awesome. They have been, Beth has been great with planning this, planning this thing, the events or the safety. I just wanted to say thanks, and it is a huge, you guys are a huge benefit to us. I just wanted to say thank you, and you do have a great team.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Does have a lot going on.
We do. But it doesn't mean we tag team quite a bit. Christy and I are good at. So if y'all have something priority wise, we do care. We do want to get it out there, especially like Monique, if you have something with food security, or even like I know you and I have talked about like a farm to table kind of roundabout thing with the community. We talked about with kids before in my previous position, but if you want to do that on a bigger scale with adults or something like that, or that small acreage management, I'm happy to put that on my list of things that I'm working on, because I do think that's vital in a discussion to come for sure.
Yeah, what would be most helpful for me off the bat is just like, where is the one calendar of everything?
Yeah.
Because it's here, but we don't have it here, and then I'm
Right.
wondering like, where is just the hit list
hit list.
of,
Everything.
yeah,
Okay.
what y'all are up to? That would just be super helpful for cross promotion purposes, and
Absolutely.
especially for the expo,
Mhm.
you know, how do you want us to message that out? Do you have posts ready to go that you want us to amplify? Are there certain audiences you want us to reach out to? So just any sort of like content that is quick, you know, we can turn that around pretty fast.
Sure.
So just that consolidated list of all the things, wherever that lives, because I'm sure you have one somewhere, and then whatever is most helpful for us to message so that it's consistent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like 4-H has a big calendar and they send it out to all their client list every Friday. It's called the Friday 4-H. If you all have youth in that program, but we can create something similar, because that is the Friday 4-H is linked to our website as of right now, and it's an overall calendar for every year, and it has everything that impacts 4-H on an annual basis for Bubble County. So we can definitely create something similar where it's something quick. You can just click on the link. It's there. It's always in that ag email, and you can always just click and see what's going on or what's happening in 3-4 months from now. So we can definitely get that out to you all. And the same thing with quick content. We can definitely start working on that, where maybe this group specifically gets that, where we'll send you all the promotional stuff. It's right there. It's just quick little blurbs that you can grab from that email and share on your respective sites. So we can easily put that together as well. So that's great to know that you all would like that.
You already have an email list?
We do, but if you all have people, you know, or you hear people who are like, I don't know how to really contact the extension office, I know what's going on, just have them call us. We'll just take their email address and we'll get them added on the list. So it's a quick thing. We do have a subscribe deal on our Facebook page. Sorry, this is Christy's computer, so I won't mess with it, but
How many do you have on that list?
we have, I want to say offhand, it's like 85 people we send that to at the moment. And we do try to go through that and see if it's, you know, how that's doing and the relevancy with that. And of course, people can unsubscribe or subscribe on their own. So it's not a mandatory thing. But yeah, so it's,
Do you have an email schedule, like where it comes out every Friday? Do you guys send out every Monday or
we do.
once a
We
month?
sent it out either Wednesday or Friday. It kind of just depends on the content that we're trying to do. For example, like if Christy's class was going to be early that week, we'd probably send it out on a Wednesday. So y'all would have time to see that and kind of plan accordingly. But if we don't have necessarily anything super quick up and coming, then you'll most likely see it on that Friday.
So it's weekly?
Yeah, but it is weekly. Yeah, so it will always be a Wednesday or a Friday for sure.
I don't know if I'm on that weekly
I'm
list.
not.
I got the newsletter. I got the quarterly newsletter, but I haven't seen anything
Seen
weekly.
it.
So
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah.
I bet Carolyn could speak to that.
Yeah, Carolyn, can you unmute? And also, if you have more to add on that, please share.
So the MailChimp that we use goes out to 287 people, at least once a week. either on a Wednesday or Friday, like Beth said, depending on what's going on. And if you're not on it, you can just either contact Beth or Christy or me, and we can definitely get you added on there. And it just depends on what's going on. Could have 2 or 3 different things. Could just be highlighting one thing, depending on what's coming up.
I think, doesn't it come with the title, keeping you informed from Christie?
Yes.
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 Betsy, are you on that list? And if not, would you like to be added to that?
Please and thank you. And no, I'm not on the list, sorry.
And then Kelby, same for you. I don't believe you're on that list, but if you're not, would you want to be added just with your email?
Yeah,
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so we will make sure y'all get that. Anything else specific that you've been hearing about in the community or anything like that that you kind of want to put on any of our radars from any of your respective groups?
I know to excuse myself.
No worries. If you
Yeah.
need to
Grab
grab
a sandwich.
sandwich, cookies.
Awesome.
Grab
Thank
it
you so
all.
much. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks
It
so
was
much
nice to
for
meet you all.
coming.
Look forward to working with you. Yep.
Yes.
See ya.
I know there's some rumblings that the county fair doesn't want to play nicely with the state fairgrounds and vice versa and whatever. In my opinion, I do not think it's a smart move for Pueblo County to have their own fairgrounds. That's my opinion. I know
MJ, take
there's
that.
rumblings and it's a long ways out and everything. My reasoning for why I don't think it's a good idea and that we should try to mend the bridge and make an olive branch is, why would you take away the home advantage from Pueblo County kids? Like, if you get a play in the New York Yankees stadium and that's your home team and then that's the World Stadium, why would you not have that advantage? And I know there's lots of politics and going on to that. We don't have to go into that, but that's my opinion, that we should not support Pueblo County having their own fairgrounds. We should support whatever other alternatives to make State Fair and County Fair play nicely together.
There's a lot of politics in that I can't go into in detail, but I will say that this was an instigation that came from the state fair.
I know,
So-
it's a bigger, grander scale.
And I met with State Fair Management last week to talk about it. And I really don't know what's going to happen. It'll be a decision of the county commissioners, ultimately in the end. I do think the county commissioners are planning on voting on that in February also.
I just think it's a great resource at the state fairgrounds here. We should not duplicate efforts in all that we do. I know there's more to it. Seems like there's always more to everything.
Betsy or Kelby, if you have anything to share, feel free to unmute and let us know.
I think I'm unmuted and no, I don't have anything. Thank you for letting me be at home today.
Of course. Of course. We'll do our best. I mean, we'd love to have everybody in person, but we will certainly always have the hybrid option just in case somebody needs to be elsewhere and kind of zoom in on this meeting. So please, everybody feel free. There's a lot of sandwiches because I was expecting more people, but that's it. So eat extra. Also,
Big effort.
I can't help myself. I'm Italian, so if there's, not leftovers, it's bad.
I don't remember you ladies saying anything about Egg Fest.
Oh my
But
gosh.
they're going to be hosting with the 4-H agents and some agents from neighboring counties. They're going to be hosting a Egg Fest for 5th graders sometime in February.
Yes, it's February 22nd through the 24th for the Pueblo one, and the Valley one is before that.
And they'll be bringing in kids from other counties as well as Pueblo County.
they'll have one here and then they're gonna have one in Monte Vista. And it'll run through, is it 8 different stations? or-
Yes.
That teaches the kids about where their food and clothing comes from and what kind of job opportunities there are out there. So kids get beyond this idea that their food just comes from a grocery store.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for years. We started it out on the plains when I was out there back about 2008. And then when I came here, Devin Engel and I worked to get it going. And it's always huge success. Teachers tell us it's their favorite field trip. And I would encourage you all, if somebody wants to pop out and see how it runs. I know we always invite the Farm Bureau every year. But if you want to stick your head in when they're doing it, I'm sure they would be happy to let you see how it functions.
It's fun.
Drew will be there as the pollinator, one of the pollinator speakers at that station, so.
Yeah, again, like Monique said, you guys have a lot going on and it's all really cool stuff. There's got to be a more digestible way to get this information out and then empower your people to be able to promote it out instead of like, yeah, was it Ag Fest or was it Ag Expo or was it Ag whatever?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Sure, it's a lot. yeah.
I would say a priority needs to be make your information digestible and shareable. And with the communications team or something.
Yeah, we can definitely work on that for sure. So, yeah. Anything else from anybody? Well, thank you all for coming. For those of you online, if y'all have other things to do, we will jump off since unfortunately we can't give you food through the computer.
I was gonna airmail it, but it wouldn't be very good, so.
But we will make sure you all get copies of everything if you couldn't see, like the Ag Expo, things like that. And we'll make sure you guys get on that Ag email list as well. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you
and
all so much.
Appreciate it. Of
And thank you guys for all the work that you're doing.
course.
Right on. Thanks, guys. All right, well. Thank you, Carolyn. Oh, she left. Make sure the.